Jake Hatch of Locked On Cougars. BYU fans are staring into a deep, dark, terrible abyss. The universe has collapsed upon them. In a 72-hour span, you lost a star basketball player to a torn ACL and a star football player, all Big 12 caliber wide receiver, to sexual assault allegations that have kicked him off of the team. Those two things completely unrelated. Terrible for a BYU fan who just loves their sports. When will the sun come up again? Where is the hope to be had?
Well, not to add more fuel to that pity party there, Drake, but we also did lose the matriarch of modern BYU football in Patty Edwards this past weekend as well. Lavelle Edwards' widow. I just wanted to make sure to express my thoughts and prayers go out to the Edwards family at this time, because I'm telling you, Patty, salt of the earth, like maybe the most unsung hero in BYU sports in many, many generations. She meant so much to the BYU football program and did it all behind the scenes for all intents and purposes. Let's just put it this way. Patty Edwards may be one of the chief reasons why Kalani Sitake is still the head coach of BYU, Drake. That might be her final act in terms of helping BYU athletics, is keeping the guy that's got BYU football rolling in place in Kalani Sitake. They reportedly had a chat during that whole debacle of the Penn State and all that stuff. So let me get to the original question here.
Yeah.
With all that, understand that hope springs eternal, and that it may take you a week or 2 weeks or a couple of months, but there is going to be another season on the horizon for BYU football. There is still some hope that BYU basketball may scrounge a way to find their way to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. It looks pretty bad right now, but I like to always look at the bright side of things and say, you know what? This is sports, and sports always has good stories that emerge from it. It was a really, really tough weekend for BYU sports, and I completely understand that you mentioned the abyss. Yeah, a lot of Cougar fans staring into that abyss saying, wow, what is going on here? But understand that there will be feel-good stories in time that will come on the backside of what was a really rough 72 or so hours in BYU sports history. But I believe that, yeah, we will find something positive to, coalesce around. It just may take a little bit of time.
Again, I won't compare the Retzlaff situation and Kingston situations. They're each unique to themselves, to their own victims or alleged victims. But if, again, you're a BYU fan, you're like, oh, we just did this. We just went through this. On the other side of that, losing your starting quarterback, you had a QB, true freshman, who became a phenom in the conference, was the talk of the Big 12, and you made it to the conference championship game in Arlington. Jake, is there that hope? Is there that reprieve? The BYU fans are saying, hey, we just went through this and it actually worked out.
Yeah, I think there is, and there should be, because their freshman class of wide receivers that are coming into this program, that are already there on campus, they enrolled early. You got some really fine talent in that room. JoJo Phillips, this is his time to step into the forefront and really show what he's capable of. There is another Nakua on the roster here, Drake. Everybody knows that Puka. Well, Tei, his younger brother, has been expected to really kind of make his imprint on the football program at some point. It opens the door to opportunity for all these younger players in that wide receiver room to say, all right, now's my time to shine. So, yeah, understand that, it's tough to lose Parker Kingston. And like I said, our thoughts and prayers go out to everybody involved in that situation. I said it on my own podcast. There are no winners in that situation. Much like there were no winners in the Jake Retzlaff situation, nobody comes out feeling good when it comes to that. But understand that BYU put together a pretty fine season in the aftermath of the Jake Retzlaff situation, and you got to have hope that they can find the answers and will find the answers to replace the production that Parker Kingston gave this football program, and you can make another run this fall.
What confidence do you have that Kalani Sitake and company during this second round of portal? Because remember, there is the Bear Bachmeier portal. That's when BYU swooped in and got its starting QB, that they will go after a high-level wide receiver one.
They will look. They'll see what's out there, obviously, and inquire about players that may come available. And that's the interesting part about this, Drake, is because they've claimed that there's no real portal window, but you and I both know that guys can leave essentially whenever they want, because we saw it with Jake Retzlaff. We've seen it with multiple other instances. If guys come available and BYU thinks that they are capable of being a key cog in a high-level offense that BYU aspires to have this season, you can guarantee they will kick the tires on anybody who comes available. They feel like fits the culture, fits what BYU is all about, and essentially kind of pitch them on the idea like, hey, we need an alpha in this room. Do you want to come and be that guy?
given the other players who've announced their return to BYU, how much confidence do you have that this roster, namely after what was added in the transfer portal, and it wasn't a slew of players, but enough to plug holes or create competition, what is your confidence this is once again a Big 12 title contending roster?
I think they're very capable of that. Yes, losing Parker Kingston absolutely it makes a dent in those thoughts that they can make that run again. But you do have your freshman star quarterback back for his first full offseason of working out with BYU, and the expectation is the Bear will be even better than he was as a freshman. LJ Martin is the reigning offensive player of the year in the conference. If he stays healthy, BYU's running attack is going to be absolutely elite. And yeah, they reloaded on the offensive line. They have brought back essentially everybody of note on defense that had eligibility remaining. And that was a pretty darn good defense. None of those players, save one, followed Jay Hill to Michigan. And the guy who did leave suffered a season-ending knee injury as a backup linebacker. So there is a lot of confidence that this team, they're very capable of challenging for Big 12 supremacy. And in fact, I guarantee that even with Parker Kingston being gone off this roster, the message has not changed one bit inside that meeting room saying, guys, we were close to winning the Big 12 last year. We want to make the college football playoff. That remains the goal here. Understand that we've been on the doorstep the last 2 years of making the college football playoff. Let's go out and knock that door down, and we'll do it with the guys we have in this room.
BYU basketball, what are the odds? And it probably doesn't happen on February 18th against Arizona, but what are the odds? Cada, Wright, DeBonsa, those guys step up, and all of a sudden Kevin Young, with his NBA basketball expertise, finds a way to lead this version of BYU, this ragtag group of BYU, to a Final Four caliber season altogether again.
If they do it, it will be talked about for eons to come. Let's just put it that way, because it'd be one of those epic tales. Because 6 season-ending injuries to your original roster, and maybe the single most indispensable player on your roster now down for the season in Richie Saunders. If Kevin Young can cobble together whatever he has to do with this roster to make that type of a run, yeah, it will go down as one of the finest coaching performances in BYU history. And we've seen a guy like this really show extremely well in his first year, speaking of Kevin Young, but kind of that next step here. That's what I'm looking for to see, okay, what else you got for us here? And by the way, there's opportunities on this roster. Alexei Kostic, a lot of these younger players, Moo Davis, they have the opportunity now to make up the 18 to 25 points a game, all the different contributions that Richie Saunders offered. Well, guess what? Somebody's got to give that to this roster, and those guys got to be thinking, all right, let's step up and do our thing.
45 seconds left.
Mm-hmm.
Does hope mean something just a little bit more at BYU?
It does. BYU is a special place. I've said it time and time again that this is a university that represents a worldwide faith, and the message is of hope and believing that there are brighter and better days ahead. And I think it's pervasive in everything BYU does, especially when it comes to BYU athletics.
We love it, but it's not all football and basketball out there in the world. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, I mean, every now and then, but
yeah, trust me, a lot of BYU fans, they're in it for BYU football and basketball, but the bigger BYU community, Brigham Young University, it stands for a whole lot more than just football and basketball. Yes,
they know the message. That's Jake Hatch at Jacob C. Hatch on socials. Drake Toll with you. This has been It Always Will Be. Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. A crossover with Dose Grande. Wait, with Cougars and Dose Grande.